Darryl, it appears the Saudis have begun paying for the death of Jamal Khashoggi. Is it going to get worse for them?
They are still resolute despite everything that is going on, as you saw in that story. They are going to go ahead with the conference.
But the big names are pulling out.
Well, they don't care, and I think it's a statement from them that no matter what you say, we're still going to go ahead. And, well, let's see how it goes, because now they have confirmed that it was a killing, and so we know that Khashoggi is dead. But as you say, they're going to pay the price. We don't know for how long. Is it going to
get worse, by the way? Do you think it's going to get worse?
Well, let's see what the future holds. You know, we've been talking about Cyber Week. I don't know how concerned you are about your dealings on the internet.
My Facebook accounts as well, and my social media accounts. Yes,
yeah,
I'm concerned.
Plenty happening in that space. We want to begin with. Government is seeking support from the financial sector to help fight cybercrime. Deputy Minister of Communication Vincent Odota made the call at the launch of Cyber Information Security Directive for the financial sector.
Establish cyber defensive mechanisms to safeguard our systems, starting today with the financial sector. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, cyber security works best with collaborations. Hence, the effective fight against cybercrime will require seamless collaboration between the government, state and public agencies, private companies, entrepreneurs, academicians, and indeed all stakeholders. In other words, an effective fight will require everyone gathered here today to take interest in the cybersecurity directives and the effective implementation to support the fight against cybercrime in the financial sector. On the side of the government, the National Cybersecurity Secretariat, in collaboration with partnering agencies, are working together to identify and eliminate weaknesses in our cyber system. Thus, the initiative by the Bank of Ghana to tackle cyber threats is commendable and vital to the mandate of the National Cybersecurity Secretariat. Let me admonish that the Cybersecurity Directive for Financial Institutions must be regularly reviewed and updated since cybersecurity issues evolve and are very dynamic. Collectively, we must constantly adapt to the emerging security threats. Again, you all agree with me that such directives should be supported by continuous capacity training to effectively fight this battle.
Meanwhile, Parliament is expected to ratify the Convention on Cybercrime, which was adopted by Ghana last year. The law, after ratification, is expected to guide the country on developing strategies to deal with cyber attacks in the country.
The Budapest Convention on Cybercrime is a framework for capacity building for member countries of the United Nations adopted in November 2001. Ghana became the third nation on the African continent to sign these two conventions last year. Speaking at the climax of the Cybersecurity Awareness and a Safer Digital Ghana Campaign Month, President Akufo-Addo assured that government is making efforts to rectify the deal.
In our efforts to pursue international cooperation engagements as part of addressing the menace of cybercrime, Ghana has ratified the African Union Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection, that is the Malabo Convention, becoming the third country on the continent to do so. I have signed the Convention on Cybercrime, known as the Budapest Convention, following cabinet approval. I'm hopeful the Parliament will ratify it in its forthcoming meeting. These two international treaties would enhance our cooperation with other countries at the policy, technical, and operational levels in dealing with cyber security incidents.
As part of the convention, Ghana will set up a cybersecurity academy as well as a national cybersecurity authority to oversee the operations of all agencies in the digital value chain. National Cybersecurity Advisor Albert Nchibo-Esiakon disclosed that due to the progress made by the country in fighting cybercrime, members
Tonight, capital market players are raising issues with timing of recent regulatory measures introduced for the sector. President of the Ghana Securities Industry Association, Emmanuel Esiedu, disclosed this to Joy Business after the launch of the Capital Market Week celebration in Accra. George Afe has more.
The week-long activities which began over the weekend is part of measures to engage the public to help deal with the challenges facing the sector. The celebrations would focus on improving upon corporate governance in the sector. Speaking to Joy Business after the formal press launch, President of the Ghana Securities Industry Association, Emmanuel Esiedu, says current challenges facing the sector gives credence to focus on corporate governance issues. He, however, describes the timing for the introduction of the recent regulatory measures as not favorable.
Are the reforms necessary? Yes, they are. So yes, we get the sense that and other people might think otherwise, but we get the sense that these reforms are required. What we need to be careful about is the implementation. And let me just paint this picture. You have a banking sector that has just gone through a cleanup. And so you have a lot of investment firms and investors who have had their funds locked up in some of the banks that have failed. And then you have a regulator on the investment side, the capital market, who's saying, unwind your guaranteed positions. That could create a perfect storm of liquidity issues if that implementation is done now. So what I would have suggested is a more gradual implementation of these reforms, and so that you don't have two core financial pillars in the economy going into challenges at the same time.
But Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Paul Abebio, disagrees. He tells Joy Business these measures are needed now to improve upon investor confidence.
In the same way, we've also come to meet a certain marketplace. Some of those changes are overdue. So really, in making those changes, we actually and you have to balance it. And unfortunately, this is also occurring when you have a banking situation.
And that's what the problem is.
One might say that they are interrelated, because you can't have a banking sector which will not impact your other financial institutions, which will also not impact your real sector. So one of the things I have been saying is that the situation in the banking sector now is actually reflecting what's happening in the real economy maybe 4 years ago. Because when you have businesses defaulting on their loans, you have your NPLs rising. It's going to affect certain financial institutions who lend to those entities.
For some industry players, it is believed that these engagements are critical to help deal with market confidence issues.
Now, Chief Executive of Max International, Joe Voitiki, has added his voice to calls for a reconsideration of the proposed 5% increment in telecom tariffs. He believes the adjustment will add up to the cost of doing business in the country. He spoke to Joy Business at the just-ended Max Momentum Convention 2018 over the weekend.
The convention brought together associates of Max International from several parts of the country. The Wellness and Weight Loss Supplement Producing Company, which has been in operation in Ghana for over 3 years, acknowledged its associates within its various categories of excellence, from bronze to triple crown. Speaking on the expected 5% increment in telecommunication tariffs, Chief Executive Joe Voitiki called for reconsideration, as this will affect the cost of doing business in the country.
Well, I think it makes it very difficult on the population, right, to make phone calls, and this is how people are connecting. So if you're going to increase the tariffs on basic phone calls, I think that's going to make it very hard on the population. If government separates themselves from the business leaders and from the consumer, the basic consumer, I think then you end up with an issue.
Highlight of the convention was the launch of the Strong Max Women campaign, a drive to recognize the achievements of women. The drive will, among other things, provide training for women in business. Tekli Menelik is a country manager.
A big percentage of our distributors that are earning checks every month are women, and it keeps growing every single month. And worldwide for the company, actually the majority of our distributors are actually women. Why? There's a number of reasons. Women are very entrepreneurial. And this type of business, network marketing, and Max International in particular, you get equal pay for equal work. It doesn't matter what your gender is, doesn't matter what's on your CV, doesn't matter what school you went to or which region that you're from. it's a meritocracy. It means the work that you put in is the work that you get out.
The campaign, which was first launched in Ghana, is expected to be replicated in other countries as well. For Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
Ghana in the coming months will procure the first ever research vessel to intensify surveillance against disease outbreaks in the agric sector, the aquaculture sector rather. This was made known to Joy Business by the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Elizabeth Afulekwe, who says the entire funding plan for the $1 million vessel has already been factored into the 2019 budget.
Procuring very soon. We are in the process of procuring a research vessel for Ghana. So we will do that. And this research vessel will be working in the marine sector. It's in our budget, the budget that will be out very soon. We have captured it in our budget. We have already gone out to look for possible sources of funding and also where we could get the vessels from.
Well, meanwhile, the Fisheries Ministry has intensified biosecurity across the country as it figures out the cause of the death of 14,000 tons of tilapia on a Chinese fish farm. So far, the final report of the investigation is yet to be made public as the fish farm remains cordoned off. That's it for this segment of Business Live. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you our main story.
Welcome back, and let's do our main story for tonight. Now, over the weekend, a video surfaced on social media of clients besieging the offices of GN Bank to claim their funds. Despite the appeal by group head Dr. Papakwesi Ndum and a nationwide campaign to end panic withdrawal, it appears the situation is getting worse. Is this a clear case of communication breakdown, or the situation has just gone out of control? And in situations such as this one, I'm talking about the banking crisis, how effective should PR and communication units be, especially in an era where social media is vibrant and powerful? Let's watch this clip. When we come back, we have a conversation on that.
You talk about suffering and you are knitting from Tuesday up to Friday.
So let's try to sort this thing out and make happy so that doesn't went into any other thing. Right? I can't see my fellow woman sitting on the floor because her money is locked up over here, just like me and everybody else here. Money is everything.
You have their direct line. Put them and let them give us. Tell us when they are having the meeting. Where's the your colleague always.
So this particular video has actually gone viral on social media over the weekend. Let's now go over to the phone lines. We actually do Skype with AC Esuman, who is the principal consultant of Mahogany Consults. Thanks so much, ma'am, for joining us on Business Live.
Hello, thank you for having me. And
all right.
Good evening to your viewers.
All right, are these financial institutions being sluggish in managing these aggrieved clients?
Well, first, let me start by saying that in every relationship, we know that information and dialogue resolves conflict. And so clearly, if you look at how customers are behaving and other stakeholders, it speaks to a certain break in communication when people do not have enough information about the situation, when people do not understand the situation, there's room for tension, there's room for agitation. And that's what we're seeing happening with some of these financial institutions.
Right. So in situations such as what is happening in the financial sector, what is the best way out? I mean, the role of the PR and communications unit of these financial institutions.
Well, looking at the financial sector currently and looking at the issue, I see two groups of organizations. I'm seeing those who are actually in crisis and actually facing liquidity challenges. And then you have those who aren't, but are feeling the spillover effect of what's happening in the industry. For those who aren't, I would say be proactive. Be proactive. Reach out to your customers, reach out to your stakeholders, and allay their fears. There are so many ways in which you can do that. Call them to a customer forum if necessary, hear their concerns, and explain what the issue is. Offer solutions, assure them that their money is safe. And don't just say, back your words with evidence. Where is the evidence that this financial institution isn't facing a liquidity problem? Show that evidence. If it means putting up your financial statement on your website, do that. Activate all your communication lines. Relationship managers who have relationship with these customers can actually go into their offices, go into their homes, speak with them. If it's an email, if it's a text message, do that. And one thing that sometimes we often forget is our staff. You need to also brief your staff about what is happening, that this is the situation and this is our response, and brief key spokespeople who would actually address the issue. So right from the CEO to the security man, even to the cleaner, across them of what's happening, that this is an issue that's happening in the industry, and it's likely our customers might come in ABC, and this is our response, okay?
All right, Esi, we know that Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum has embarked on a nationwide campaign. He's been very effective when it comes to managing the crisis and trying to educate the public to stop the panic with. Are you saying then that his tactics are not effective, it's not being effective?
Well, that is one in a whole pool of things that can be done. And here we're talking about customers who are unique to an organization. And so, yes, and I would applaud Papa Kwesi Ndum for what he's doing. And in fact, I would also say that the larger association of local banking join in the campaign to instill confidence in our local businesses, but the greater responsibility lies on that individual organization that is facing the issue.
All right, but you also agree with me that right, I'm saying you also agree with me that social media has become really vibrant and powerful. So now clients are filming things themselves, they are putting things on social media themselves. So what should be the posture of the communication expert in this organization to be able to manage the situation in a way that it doesn't escalate?
Yes, so clearly, in reference to the incident we also over the weekend, I'm yet to see an official response from the institution concerned. But social media is so fast, it's so immediate, it's so urgent that you cannot leave things to cook overnight. As soon as it happens, you need to be out there to explain what is happening and to assure those of us watching, those of us reading, that these are the steps that you've taken to resolve it. And sometimes you can actually use the same medium. So a video was posted of this customer who was gone into the banking hall. So let's see a video actually of the bank engaging this customer, having dialogue. Let's hear of the outcome. Let's see the solution so that people know that you care about them, you care about their money. And in times like this, really, organizations need to show concern and need to be transparent. Social media is fast. Have a team in place that is constantly monitoring. If you're able to have, there are apps, of course, you can also reach out to a public relations agency where they have tools to monitor so that whenever your name goes up, you get a feedback, you get a report that says your name is up and the publicity is positive or negative, and quickly you can devise a plan to resolve it. For those organizations who are actually in crisis, let's see a plan. You see, you are dealing with customers, be responsible, be accountable to them. Some will definitely demand their money because you are facing liquidity challenges. Let's see a payment plan and be committed to that plan. When you show us that plan and you are committed, backed by information, backed by explanations, your customers are even willing to forgive you and come back when you're ready to stand on your feet.
Esi Suman is a principal consultant, Mahogany Consult. Thanks you so much for your thoughts on what is happening currently in the financial sector. Darrow, quite interesting.
Very interesting discussion over there, and some PR lessons for you for free. That'll be it for this edition of Business Live. Thanks for watching. I'm sure we'll have a conversation around this in the future. It's not ending anytime soon. My name is Daryl Kwao.
And my name is Sandra Esinamapene. For more news, please do log on to myjoyonline.com/business for business updates. Thanks so much for watching.
We'll see you.